All right, Low Network, here we go. Happy Monday. Again, today is Monday, June 18th. I'm with my beautiful friend, London Sanders. Did I do it?
Hi.
I did it, all right. And I'm a little shiny today, but she looks perfect. We tried to make it up, but yeah, that's not happening. This Italian skin's not having it. See how it changes?
Yeah, it shifts.
Sort of orange. It depends on the light that the camera's on. So let us know you can hear us or see us. Give us a thumbs up. I don't know, the reason I say that all the time, London, is I had one show, an attorney friend of mine, and we did the entire show and nobody could hear. And yet, I didn't ask if anybody could hear. They were just watching. I guess they could read lips.
Right.
So I always ask, give us a thumbs up. Let us know you can hear us or see us. We are on episode 190 today.
Wow.
You're 190. We're getting close to that 200. I can't believe it. But London was kind enough to come on the show. I think she's got a fantastic message, a great background, and she's got a story. So that's what we're here for. So welcome.
Thank you, Ted. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited. She's got all her notes and stuff over here. It's so awesome. I have no notes, as you guys know. There's no notes here. So give us a little background on you. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from.
Absolutely.
Maybe get to the point where you have your big why. What was your big moment?
Sure. So I'm a Florida native, guy. So I'm from North Florida to Central Florida about 3 years ago. Came here with big city dreams, right? From the rural area of North Florida to the Central Florida area to take on my next level of success. So at that time, guys, I was really just focused on being a clinical research associate, helping medicine develop and research and development. So that was my real reason to get here, but didn't know that there was another plan for me. Always been passionate about helping others. And so then this one day, I'm just driving down the road and my life changes. I almost lose my life.
So talk about
And that's where that why came in. So typical day, we know we hit our 9 to 5, boom, it's 5 o'clock, I'm off, I'm ready to go and possibly have a cocktail or some good coffee. Allegedly. So, and I'm at the red light and my life changed in 5 seconds. I'm now changed forever. And I could have broken my neck, but good graces, I'm here. And that's where my why was discovered. And it was implanted in me. Now I must share my passion with everyone else. It's not just for me.
Right.
And so even though I was doing that offline and being able to be impactful to other people, I was definitely keeping in a small circle. And what do I mean when I say offline? There would be someone that would see my drive and would like to connect with me. And then we would get results of them taking it to the next level. And I was like, wow. But I didn't really understand that until my life totally changed and my life flashed before my eyes and the graces of the higher powers brought me here.
So tell me about, but I want to go back because your bio, I pushed your bio on there, so I know people are going to want to know. You are in clinical research because I want to get to the empowerment, I want to get to the coaching, I want to get to the why, but you had a why before as well. You have a passion, you're in clinical research. Tell them a little bit about how you got there, because you weren't born in rural North Florida and then all of a sudden we're a clinical researcher, right? So you had to have a path to get there.
So from that, before all empowerment, I was actually born, and then in this life changes again. There was another great incident.
See?
I lost my father at 10 years old.
I'm sorry.
And to heart disease. So it will, and it's Father's Day, so now he's gonna make me tear up.
I'm sorry.
And I lost my father at 10 and knew that life had something more for me, and I wanted to learn more about his disease. So from the steam of helping people and then knowing that heart health was important, I kind of wanted to get in medicine.
Wow.
And then I used to read, I still do read a lot, but I read a lot, guys. And so my academics, then wanting to more, why did my dad leave at 10? Why was his heart not good enough to stay with us? And learning how, was that genetic or was that food inclined? So that built my momentum to get into research and healthcare and all of those things. So
see, there's her early why.
that's the early why.
That's the one. So many people that come on the show talk about it. It's usually that 8 to 13-ish time, something's been impactful in their life, an event or a person, and it changes the trajectory, or at least opens up this vision of, oh my God, I'd like to do something. And for you, unfortunately, it was your dad's passing. But what an amazing thing for you to be able to go into research and for it to motivate you and for you to know at such an early age that you wanted to do something
Yes.
like that.
And I knew I didn't want to actually take care of the patients, but I wanted to know, how does the anatomy of science work, and was this genetic? Was it something we were eating? We ate good, guys. We're from the South. So
Good food.
good food. So, and then watching my mother struggle because of the fact that my dad was the initial breadwinner. Yeah. So it was a lot that impacted my life.
But isn't it amazing that you were able to know that at 10 and still take it through to adulthood, through to your career? That's how powerful, when we're talking to our kids or when something happens to children, how powerful that can be. It's a lifelong thing for you. It's because you're a clinical researcher because of it. And you may not be treating the patients, but you're helping provide the research so that we can find better ways of taking care of our sick and taking care of our health.
That's it. And making sure that we put health on the forefront of everything we do as entrepreneurs, as employees, as executives. We do not take health in consideration.
We really don't. I mean, I feel like I always joke, my poor wife, I think she's on here. Hi, Stacy. I'm always like, oh, you're going to go first. There's no way. I got too much going on, or I'm pickled and preserved. But I think that we don't take that. We think we're immortal. We don't want to ever face our mortality. Therefore, we don't think about it. But there's so much research coming out about the things that we can do and so many changes, especially with all of the medical breakthroughs that we have. We do a show with Russ Scala, and there are so many things that we talk about on there where it's this breakthrough new way of thinking of things. And how does that happen? Because we have clinical researchers who are committed to it. And the money that people raise and the companies who are interested in doing good around the world, there really are. They're not all greedy. I'm sure there's some of them that are, but what she's talking about is making a real difference based on the research. So what does that involve? Do you look up, does somebody come up to an idea, or do you have to find the methodology and test it? I'm fascinated by the clinical side of it.
So what happens is, Ted, we come in as the compliance monitor. I come in after we start preclinical. So from preclinical, so when we hear the lab rats, right? Right. From the lab rat stage to preclinical to first in man, which is human, and then we begin to monitor the compliance first in human. So we literally, before you guys see a drug on the market, it has went through rigorous 8 to 10 years. And though we look like we see a commercial every week with a new, a new strength or dose, and you're thinking, oh wow, that just popped up. It did not. It's 10 years. So I come in when we start the first in man, our delivery of the medication investigationally.
Wow. And
then so I'm monitoring compliance so that we can present this to the FDA and get approval. And that is a stringent process.
Well, it's got to be. And that's why I think it's such a double-edged sword, because it's the FDA, right, that has to approve everything. So they get a bad rap, and I get where people come from, that it takes so long. There's people dying while they're trying to test it for the umpteenth time. On the flip side, because we're such a litigious, suing kind of nation, if they don't do that, then they're going to get sued. I mean, everybody's going to get sued either way. That's why they have all of those. The first part of the commercial is use this for your depression, and then there's 99 reasons to not use it. The caveats that say, but if you have this, or you could have this, or don't use it with this. They have to do that. But the research is so critical. I mean, you don't want people dying because, and what if it's not something that's terminal that you're testing, and there's a death or some incapacitation related to it? So the research is critical.
It's very critical. And you know how we find out those things that are listed, the 99 things that could happen? Some hero, and I call them research heroes, guys, they literally went through this investigational process with us to identify. So that's how you know you're going to have nausea. That's how you're going to know you have a headache. So the process doesn't just start with inhuman. We also are collecting data that will give now my patients an idea of the things that could happen. But I also tell people, think about your own health, which impact how the drug process in your metabolism.
Correct.
So whenever you see everyone suing, maybe they had an unknown disease that
Right.
would counteract with the medication.
Correct.
That could be fatal.
Well, on the show with Russ, we talk about how everybody's biochemically unique.
Right.
And so if your body might not react the same way, like think about it, there's certain medicines, no matter what, you're allergic to. That's your
it.
body. So it's not the fault of the FDA or the researchers. It just happens to be that your body can't handle it for whatever reason. That's why they have alternatives. That's why there's 10 different choices depending on the medicine, especially antibiotics and things like that. All right, so how do you go from clinical research and then you decide, all right, did you know you wanted to, you were already doing coaching before you had the accident.
Right.
But how did you get there? How did you go from clinical research to go, all right, well, I'd like to coach people? Was it because people were just coming up to you and saying, hey, London, I need your help with this, or I'd love your input? Or how did you make that first little leap?
It's the way people see you carry yourself. So you see me in a capacity of clinical, but then you also see me in a capacity of community. And then so when you see, and being passionate, so that's how I transitioned to, because I'm also so I'm helping with medications, I'm helping people become well or a better quality of living, and you see that in the community, so you want to get attached to the next, someone that's moving to their next level.
Sure.
So that's how I began to start offline coaching, because it was like, this is some young little girl from my hometown, and she's on a plane every day, or she's sitting talking about committees and things she's on. So it was the law of attraction.
Well, because it's interesting a lot of times, and it's I know it's stereotyping, but mostly when you have somebody who's clinical or compliance oriented, they're not really engaged patient-wise. They don't have that other side. They're
Right.
very clinical. And so it's awesome that you have both sides of that, because that gives you such a great perspective when you are coaching. So how did you go? So that started out, and then you had the accident, and then you decided at that moment, all right, I need to take this further. I need to begin to motivate people. I need to help people with their success. I need to reach out, empower people. But that also is that's a step process.
That's a step.
So after you had the accident, what's the first major milestone that you feel like you had as far as your second career, your new coaching?
I have to travel in my current position, and I was grounded. I couldn't go anywhere.
Oh.
16 weeks in the house, guys.
Oh my God. Wow.
So you begin to, what if my life is never the same again? So I use the house method. Like, I gotta rebuild this house, and that's where the boss lady blueprint comes in.
I love it. And she said boss, by the way.
Boss.
Boss. I love it. Where are you from? You're from
That's
Gainesville.
right. So, but
Where
I
is the boss? I'm from New Jersey, New
So
York.
I have, shout out to all my family in New Jersey,
What
New
part?
York, Pleasantville, Atlantic City, Philadelphia, Darby.
Love it.
So shout out to them and my extended family. And so they always use long vowels. Long vowels. So I enjoyed that. So I'd be like, I'm a
The
boss.
boss lady. You're a
The
boss.
boss lady.
All right, but that's awesome. You're the boss lady, but the blueprint, because in your bio, I think you said that came to you, because you're a woman of faith, obviously.
Right.
So that came to you that to build the house, you needed blueprints.
I needed a blueprint.
I love that. And so go ahead and elaborate on that.
And so when I say blueprint, because you know what? We got to build a house that can expand, right? So maybe I'm only going to build a one-story home, but my next level would be my second story. We're in an 18-story building, right?
Right.
But it started with the foundation on the bottom to go up.
Correct. That's
And
awesome.
that's where the blueprint comes in, because you forever changing those plans. And if we writing with a pencil, we can erase and start all over.
I love it. So
again.
when you take a client on, let's use the blueprint.
Okay.
You take a client on, a coaching client. What's the first thing? Because there's so many people out there that say they're coaches. I think you can go to like it's like being a minister and marrying people. You can buy it for $49 online. But that does not make you a coach. So
No.
having your blueprint idea is so awesome. So you take somebody, they come to you, they say, London, I really would like to work with you. What's some of the first things that you do when you're trying to evaluate how to help them establish or work on their blueprint?
The first thing I want to identify is their goals, a goal or a passion. And the second thing, what is your value proposition? What are you passionate about? And is your passion something that you can do without getting paid for? And number two, in that passion, is there a subset of people that would enjoy that passion, your passion? So we begin to target where we're moving and what their value proposition is. Because even though I'm passionate about basket weaving, will everyone else be as passionate about basket weaving?
Correct. There's some down to earth, bring it back down kind of thought process, what I hear you saying.
Yes.
Because just because you have this amazing idea and passion doesn't mean that it will translate.
That's right.
And if it doesn't in your mind, what do you do from there? Because I think a lot of people get stuck. They have a passion, they want to do something. I had a show, I wanted to do a show, and I sat on the idea for 2 years, and then finally decided to take a leap. I didn't do anything right, like she's talking about. I did it all completely backwards. But I think that having the blueprint would have been very helpful. Then I would have known more of the trajectory, or at least been in control of it. Because when
Right.
you're establishing the blueprint, I feel, then you're really part of the process.
That's right, because you're now having to work through the process.
Right.
Because you're planning. And I think sometimes we wake up with a fluke that we are going to become this, and then we would start becoming, but we forget to build a plan.
Definitely.
And now we have to run backwards and build the plan.
That's what the TED show's going through right now. And I think that that it's so powerful to be able to give that to people. When I'm coaching people too, I love the blueprint. I don't use that, obviously. It's just me. You get a red coat. But I think that people are just desperate for somebody to first hear them, which you obviously do.
Yes.
And then to help guide them, because they have all of these people around, which is something you talked about earlier. That doesn't necessarily mean that those people are a good buffer or a good sounding board for them.
Right.
They've either told them what they wanted to hear, or they tell them the opposite of what's true. I feel like people are naturally not as supportive, or they're overly supportive because but they don't have any idea what you're doing. So you actually ground these people.
I do. And then then the next step is, guys, accountability. So how accountable are you? Because I'm awesome at being a employee, but I'm also super awesome at being an entrepreneur. And I think we have to remember that you guys have got to, someone has to cut the check, guys.
Correct.
So I remind people that you're going to have to grow into entrepreneurship unless you have some major inheritance and you can kind of run
I
off
missed
with
out
that.
on that boat.
Me as well. So, I remind people that you have to be you have to be a great employee, but an awesome entrepreneur. And people say, why do you say that? Because if you have goals that you would like to have an exit plan, then again, it goes back to the blueprint.
Correct. And I think people, I'm super good at the ideas part, but the implementation can be a challenge. And I think a lot of people face that same thing. Like you've got this beautiful idea, you think it's going to change the world, or at least going to change your life. You think that you can monetize it, but you don't have any idea what the next step is.
Right.
So somebody like you comes in and says, all right, so let's start with step one. But you also have to have that ability to take the leap, right? Because you can't just go, I've got an idea and I'm going to go meet with London, and then now I'm going to quit my job where all my health insurance is and my benefits are and all that good stuff.
And London's going to tell you that's no. That's
Correct.
a no.
Correct.
We're not doing that because of the fact is you have got to proposition yourself because you want to do something that even if no one signed up today, even if no one paid you, you felt good about it and it wasn't pushed upon people. And if it's that good, don't worry, it's going to happen.
That is an awesome thing to say, because that's what happened here. And I like to use my example because I want people to know the struggles. I mean, the show started out as me just wanting to introduce the world to all the cool people I know. It wasn't about me being on camera, I can tell you that. And then it started to be morph into something different. And I don't really have a regret, but the only thing I wish that I would have done a little sooner is have a blueprint, really have a plan as to what this was going to do. Initially, we were just booked. We had a ton of people that we could have on the show, and I was just introducing them to wonderful people in the world. But there's so much more to it, and you can be more impactful with your product and service if you have a blueprint, if you kind of know where you're going. Right. If you're flying by the seat of your pants all the time, like every decision and everything you're doing, then you're not as impactful, it's not as organized. And I'm not really the type that writes things down. I've had to learn to do that. And accountability is super important with that, because I don't have really anybody who, other than Stacy, makes me accountable.
Yes.
But I think people need that. They
Right.
need the accountability part. All right, so you take a client, and then what do you do next? Like, do you help them with their launch? Do you help them with their...
Oh my goodness, guys. So after we have and they're just so sick of my accountability because I'm going to hold you to it. I'm the boss. So we got to get it done. So
The boss lady.
The boss lady. So when we get to this point, we even go through image, Ted, because you know
Good.
what? The thing about showing up and being ready and impactful, as Ted said, you have got to have that image because we are a visual world right now. Look at all of social media.
Yep.
Look at where you're seeing me and Ted today on
Look
live.
at it. Live.
Look at it.
Look,
Right.
I'm shiny.
So we go from image consulting, from photo shoots, to then designing if your product requires a tour, a launch date, a launch party. We help you plan that. Or then my thing was, when I started this, I noticed I was outsourcing a lot.
Right.
So then I had to key in on the power of networking. And that's where my sister company came out, the Boss Lady Network. So because we wanted to be able to give them good vendors for these type of services. So because what we learned, there's no
That's so
I
smart.
in team.
That's right. That's right.
So
There's no I in team.
in order for me to be on the left, the right, the side, and in the middle, so now my event coordinator can be on the left. I can be on the right. Then my stylist could be, and then you find people in the network that are willing to barter as well. So we want to be cost efficient, unless you have a major big budget, but we work with both. Cost efficient, middle budget.
So you're kind of like the Angie's List. You have your own...
I like it.
I love that. So the Boss Lady Network.
Network.
And that's great. So you've vetted these people, but you know that there are needs based on your developing business that these people will come in handy to have a relationship with, to know what they can do, what they can't do, how they'll work as far as bartering.
Right.
And that saves your clients so much time. And money too.
Money.
It's very expensive. It can be very expensive depending on how you launch or what your dream or your goal is.
Right.
And then obviously you have the clinical background, so you have your compliance too. Oh my
Right.
God, I can't
Oh
even
my
imagine.
God.
So the accountability there, that's awesome. But people have to know you can have. Let's say they have $10,000 in the bank,
Right.
but you know that you have to sit with them and really budget that out because that might be the only $10,000 they have,
That's right.
and you don't want to spend it in the first day.
No, and you want to only spend $2,500 of that or less.
Correct.
Because we need the business to pay for itself at some point. So you want to be careful on the dollars you're spending and allocate those to budget items that make sense, and then find ways where we can barter and share services,
Love it.
and then launch your business.
Now, do you take on, your bio has women empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you about that. Do you take men and women on? Do you take somebody who's got absolutely no clue whatsoever about what they want to do? They just have an idea. Is there an initial consult that goes on? I mean, I'm fascinated. I think people want to know the process because it's scary to engage a coach. It's scary to engage accountability.
45-minute free consult. What that consult does for me is sometimes I have to tell you you're not ready for us yet. You're not ready for the Boss Lady blueprint. You're not ready for the network because we are ready to work when you come over here.
Right.
So your commitment level has to be there as well. And your idea has to be solid. So when you have 2 or 3 ideas, I like to build upon one then we can launch the second idea.
Sure. That's
so you'll get a 45-minute free consult. And then we're now moving to group because what I found is people are competitive in moving to the next level. So when you put them in a room, it's a think tank, and then we begin to expand outside of this room.
That's interesting. So they really have to be ready to have at least a conversation where they're not necessarily defending, but people are able to ask them questions and they need to be able to handle any kind of constructive criticism.
Correct.
Or at least not get upset when they don't know the answer. They also have to be able to communicate what their idea is, right? So if you're in a group and you can't do that, then you're probably not ready for a sales presentation.
That's right.
I think people underestimate that. Again, they want to go from A to B because we're an immediate gratification society. So I've got an idea and tomorrow I'm going to be a millionaire. And that it doesn't happen like that.
No.
And it shouldn't happen like that because there's so many things that you're leaving in the dust and it'll come back to bite you.
Right. I often say, guys, there's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. Because on every level,
I don't like the stairs,
I
London.
know, and it makes you breathe hard too if you're not working out.
I definitely don't. Yeah, neither of those
But
things are
when you
happening.
make it to the next platform, you rest and you become impactful.
Impactful.
I like that word.
See? All right, so we're getting close to the end. Am I missing anything that you want to share? Are there any, give some of your program information, anything you want to share, parting words of wisdom with them?
I do.
And
So
you've got a couple of minutes, so you're good.
So guys, I want to share with you, knowing our brands, knowing our background, we're actually having an Orlando Summer Fashion Gala. So I want to talk about that really quickly before we go. This is a charity event, guys, that I started. This is our second annual event. We started it by hosting it for the Miss Black USA. It is an organization that gives scholarships to young girls that are actually either going to graduate school, and so they have an opportunity to place in this pageant. But after doing that last year, I decided I wanted to open it up and bring more awareness to other dynamic charities. So we appointed a local charity and a national charity. Our national charity is if I can say this on here,
Absolutely.
Family Service Network out of New York. They are in a Puerto Rico relief efforts. So we are filling a semi-truck that will go out in August. So they're part of this fashion gala in a charity movement to continue to bring light to the people that have been affected by Hurricane Maria. And then we have a local charity as well. So this is a night of fashion, live entertainment, but it's also gathering for a cause. And I love this cause because it's not, you actually get a chance to be involved and bring awareness to not just one idea, but 3 different ones.
I love it.
And because we started out with one, again, there's that growth pattern, that blueprint change, because we wanted to give more recognition to other ideas so that we can be diversified in our approach to making a difference. So Orlando Summer Fashion Gala going on July 28th at Studio One. Guys, you can check that out at my Facebook page, the Boss Lady Blueprint, or the actual event, Orlando Summer Fashion Gala, or you can go to www.orlandosummerfashiongala.com.
Wonderful.
And now if you want to follow me on my social media platforms, you can find me on Instagram at Boss Lady Blueprint. You also can find me on Facebook, the Boss Lady Blueprint Facebook page, as well as London Sanders. So I'm excited that Ted had me here.
You're so awesome. The energy is fantastic. We got a lot of comments too, and I promise, guys, that we'll follow up with you.
Yes.
And I'll share all of London's contact information, everything she just verbally gave you. We'll share and we'll post it everywhere. I mean, I think the fashion show is awesome. And then any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to impart on them.
So, our topic today was actually discovering your next level of success. So in parting, I would like to say about 4 things. Success has no expiration date. So continue to strive and build your blueprint.
I like that.
Discovering your next level of success takes 4 little tips that I actually use, and I've done this before. I want you to remember to plan and focus on buying a planner, guys. The first thing you need to do is get a planner. Buy your planner, make plans for 2019. It's almost the end of second quarter, guys. We have only less than 6 months left in this year. So plan, and then make yourself a to-do list and a to-don't list. We'll talk about that later. Read, find a book that you can contribute to your personal and professional development. That is going to take you to your next level of success. Third, contact a mentor or a few mentors. And I usually say the kind of motivation that I like, or coaches that I look for, you can have accountability coach, a spiritual coach, a professional and personal coach, a business coach, and also getting back to personal finances for strategies and knowledge. And then 4th, repeat it. Start back over again.
I love it.
So focus on your time management, guys. Track your process, read, and connect with mentors and coaches.
I love it. All right, we love the Boss Lady.
The Boss Lady.
The Boss Lady Blueprint. Thanks for coming on the show. You're a joy. I think you provided a lot of great information,
Yes.
and I promise you we'll share everything. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ted. I wanted to say you look so dapper today.
Well, thank you. I got a lot of comments
I
on the
see
red
that.
jacket.
Yeah, the red jacket is hot.
And then Crystal said something about your makeup being on point.
Yes.
We tried to get rid of this shiny earlier, but it's just...
It wasn't
with
working.
this 5 head, I don't know what's happening. So we love you guys. We will see you later. Thanks for tuning in. And reach out to London. We'll give all the information, all her contact stuff. Thanks again.
And shout out, guys. Thank you again.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See, and this is why we have no budget, right? You ready?